Welcome to the next installment of how Alberta payroll is being miscalculated and employees underpaid, where we're going to look at the underlying fundamental issue, which is the need for employers to adhere to the Alberta Employment Standards Code with respect to their payroll, and the fundamental fact that all too often those employers engaging individuals and employees in the province of Alberta are not doing that. My name is Christopher Neufeld of Neufeld Legal, and as I said, we're going to be addressing this fundamental issue which underlines the entirety of our video series. And that is the fact that all too often these employers who come to Alberta or are already in Alberta are not utilizing the Alberta Employment Standards Code. And with the exception of employees working on federalized work, which is subject to Canada Labour Code, and also is subject to differences from standard payroll practices, as I would call them. Employees in Alberta need to consider this, that when it comes to payroll, whether it's payroll reporting, payroll calculations, or simply employee pay coming out of their payroll, all too often this is being done not in accordance with Alberta's provincial statutes, but other provincial statutes from other provinces or those of other countries, and in particular the United States of America. And this is a fundamental issue that you need to understand. And I know it sounds a bit crazy to think that how could this be possible? Well, the thing is, what you'll see from the videos and what you can see from publicly available information is that when you actually scrutinize this, and you'll look at publicly available information as to how employee pay is being undertaken, how payroll is being conducted in the province of Alberta, you will see that all too often, not necessarily in every case, but very often, it does not line up with the province of Alberta. Instead, when you match it up, you'll see many elements match up with the requirements in Ontario. But the employee is not engaged in work in Ontario, they're engaged in Alberta. And as such, why then are they being subject to Ontario's payroll laws? Similarly, the situation is often that it matches up with the United States, whether it's New Jersey, New York, Massachusetts, Connecticut, whatever state you call it. But those employees, once again, are not employed in those states, but their payroll is based on that. It is not based on Alberta's Employment Standards Code. And this is the fundamental issue that needs to be addressed and needs to be scrutinized. And that's what we are doing both with our litigation and with respect to this video series. So we're going to help you see where these aspects are. And we're not going to do anything overly shocking, although it might be shocking to realize that people are getting underpaid by such a large degree. All that we are doing is we're taking established statutory law from the Alberta Employment Standards Code and actually applying it to employee payroll for those employed in the province of Alberta. And we're going to show how reporting is not consistent with the laws of Alberta. We're going to show how calculations and mathematical formulas are not consistent with the laws of Alberta. We're going to show how pay is not consistent with the laws of Alberta. And to clarify that even more, what we're going to end up doing is we're going to compare it to if you do the application in other provinces and in the United States. And that is when it comes all to grips that you'll see that you're being paid, possibly in accordance to the laws of another province or another country. And you never worked in that province or never worked in that country, and if you did, it wasn't for this particular employer. And that is where the fundamental issue lies. Because when you work in the province of Alberta, with the exception of federalized work, as I've noted, you are expected to be paid in accordance with the Alberta Employment Standards Code and the legal precedents that emanate therefrom. Not the Ontario laws, not the British Columbia laws, and most definitely not the United States laws. But what we'll get through in these videos, hopefully, is that in fact, those might very well be the very laws that your reporting, your calculations, and your pay are being dictated from. And that is not correct. That's not legally permissible. And then we'll get into how you deal with this situation, possibilities for it. Because we're not going to dictate to people, but what we want to do is we want to enlighten people and show them how exactly, for so long and for so many people, payroll in the province of Alberta is not being done correctly, and in turn, far too many employees in our estimation are being underpaid because their employers are not conforming to the laws of the province of Alberta, which starts with the Alberta Employment Standards Code. Thank you.